Hello, my name is Ken Colgan, and in this video we're going to show you how to create a composite list of all of the sheets in the project linked to the engineers, structural, etc. models, and then we're going to sort them in the main architectural model. So we'll use a bit of shared parameters, we'll use a bit of sorting, we'll use a bit of scheduling to bring all this together. Our company is CADtech Seminars. You can find us on the web at thebimguys.com or therevitguys.com. We do BIM training including Revit, Navisworks, and AutoCAD. We do training, support, implementation. We also do collaboration and model creation. So if you want to find out more about us on the web, check us out again at the Revit Guys or thebimguys.com. Let's get on with the training now. So we're going to jump on in here. Now I'm in the architect's model, actually excuse me, I'm in the engineer's model, and this is the electrical model, and what we're going to do is we're going to set this model up so that we can pass stuff to the architect's model and have that architect's model create a composite set of all of the sheets. Now I'm going to jump on over here real quick, and I'm going to go down here. Let me cancel out of that. Come down to this little sketch pad, and so that's it, us the Revit guys. Now what we're going to actually do is I'm going to come over here and start my little pen up, and we're going to have, let's say, first of all the sheets from the engineers. So let's say this is the electrical guys, right? And then we'll create another sheet over here. Oh, this is all the set of sheets from the structural guys, right? Now this is a set, right? So in his packet he's got his set. So does the electrical. And then over here we have the architectural. And there's his sheets. And we have a whole set here. Now what we want to do is maybe first sheet, second sheet of the whole project, we want to create a composite of all of these sheets. So what we're going to do is we're going to link in these models. And we may already do that already. We link them on in, right? Now once they're linked in, then what we do is we're going to create a list. Now once we put this list in, it's going to be kind of a mixed bag, because sometimes we may want the civil in front of the architectural, then we want mechanical, and we want it in a particular order. So to sort all these, what we're going to do is we're going to put in a shared parameter. We'll add a shared parameter to the electrical, structural, and architectural files. Then as you add the information in, what's going to happen is as they're compiled, they're then sorted in a particular order. For instance, maybe we want civil, and then we want architectural, then we want mechanical, and we can put them in an order that fits what we need. There's a couple steps involved, so what we're going to do is go ahead and take a look at that now. So back in Revit, it's going to be about a three-step process. Process number one is we need to create a set of shared parameters. Once the parameters are created, we need to pass them between the two projects. Then they'll talk, and that's really what shared parameters do. So let's go ahead and jump over back to the sketchpad one more time, and let's go to a fresh little sheet here, and we'll talk about shared parameters. Now what shared parameters do is we have a project over here. Well, let's call this, let's say, the electrical project, right? And that is a Revit file. And over here we may have the architecture model, and that is a Revit file. Now if you want to use shared parameters in other ways, you may have a family over here. Maybe it's a tag, whatever it looks like, and then that is a Revit family. So that is an RFA. Now if we want to put data in any of these and we want them to talk, what we need to do is use the same parameters. Now to make sure the parameters in the architectural model, in the electrical model, and in the tag family all work consistently, what we do is we need kind of a bridging file. Now so what we're going to do is we're going to create what's called a shared parameters file. So we create the shared parameters file right here, .txt. Now all this does is it holds the data. Now the data we put in here, so let's say for instance we put some data in here, and we come in here and we put in some information. So we put in, there's our parameter, and then there's our parameter, and a parameter. Now we put the parameters in the shared parameters file. Now why do we do it here? This parameter has lots of codes like 4, 7, 9, 3, and all kind of crazy stuff, right? Coding that Revit uses. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create that shared parameter file. Once the shared parameter file is created, then what we're going to do is we're then going to link that data into the electrical. We'll then link it into the architectural, and then we will bring it again into this family. Now the the interesting thing is the parameter in here will be also, see, 4397. Inside of here it'll be 4397. And in here it'll be 4397. And here it'll be 4397. Now you and I may see it as sheet presort. That's what we see it, but Revit actually reads the numbers. So we'll load the presort, sheet presort here. We'll load the sheet presort here. If we had a tag that we wanted to use here, we could also do that too. But what's happening is you'll notice that it's using the same coding in all files. So when we pass things back and forth, all the files understand the coding. So that is why we use what's called a shared parameter file. This is key, our bridging file. So let's go through the process now actually in Revit. So now here we are, and I'm in the happen to be in the electrical file, and you can start in any one of them. Now up on the Manage tab you'll see a thing called Shared Parameters. When I click on this, what happens is it opens up and it says go ahead and find the shared parameter file. Now I can go browsing, and if you don't have one, that's fine. You can actually create one from scratch. But whenever you create one, you want to use that one from that point forward. You don't want to keep mixing and matching them, because what's going to happen is it's going to become a mess. So when you start using shared parameters file, let's say in your office, let's say it's ABC Architects, create one called ABC Architects shared parameter file, put it in a server in a Revit folder somewhere, and tell everyone that is where we keep the shared parameters. We all want to use one file. Now once we created the file, now I clicked on it. Now if it didn't exist, right, I can hit create, and I could create one like so. Now since I have one already, I'm going to just go ahead and use it. Now I've got some door parameter information, but you'll notice, and I also have one set up for sheets. I can actually delete it if I need to. You can delete them and add to it. Now I'm going to hit create, excuse me, not create a new file because we have it. I'm going to create a new group, and I'm going to call this sheet information, and I hit OK on that. Now when it pops up, it says, okay, sheet information, what parameters do you want? I'm going to hit new parameter, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type in, there's going to be sheet sort. Okay. Is it a common discipline? Yep. I'll say length. No, it's actually going to be text. So I'll set it to text, and I hit OK on that. Now as we move through, I could add more information if I want. I'm just going to add one sheet sort here. If I want to add another one, I guess I could. I want a new parameter, and let's say I'll say sheet discipline. Let me put it in. Again, is that a length? No, it's going to be text. We hit OK on that. Now what this is doing is it's actually working in this file. I'm not in the project, even though I activated it through the project. This is its own file. If I go back here, this is where we are. We're in the shared parameter text file. Now go back to Revit. I hit OK. Now it saves it, even though there's no real save button, and that information is placed there. Now if we come down here, and this is the electrical project, and you'll see here it is. Now this here, don't worry about that, I'll just get rid of it. That's for that little scribble pad I'm using. As I come down, you'll see we have all our electrical. Now if I go to one of these sheets, you'll notice that we don't have any sheet sort in here, but I want that short sort to work in all projects and all tags. So what I've done is I've created what's called a shared parameter. Now we're going to load it into each project. Now let's go back to our little sketch pad again, and you'll see I'm going to load it into my electrical. That's what we'll be doing right here. Let's go back. So let's give it a shot. I go up top and it says project information, actually project parameters. Hit project parameters. At this time I'm going to add one. When I hit add, it comes up and says, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to create a new parameter? But this time I'm going to say not just a project parameter, a shared parameter. And I hit select, and I pull it from that folder of shared parameters, right? Now you'll see it says discipline and sort. So I'm going to take first of all sort, and I hit OK. It says, okay, I brought it in. What do you want me to associate it with? Associate it with my sheets. So I'm adding a new parameter to my sheet, and I hit OK. Now I'll do it again. Add another one, and I'm going to say another shared parameter. At this point we select it, and I'm going to say that is a sheet one, and that is sort. I'm not sure if I did discipline or sort already. Well, I think I may have done sort. We'll try this one, and then I'll come down here and use that for my sheets. I hit OK on that. Now I've got my sheet discipline, and I have my sheet sort. I hit OK. Now what did that do? Let's take a look. If I go back, excuse me, to my cover sheets, it says sheet sort and sheet discipline. So let's say this is my electrical, so I'm going to type electrical. Okay, that's an electrical sheet. And the sort, let's say I want this to be maybe the 300 series. There we go. Now, I can take these sheets and I'm going to hold the control key down. I'm going to grab all of these. I'm going to say you're 300. Now, if you're running the project, let's say you're the architect on this project, you may actually talk to the engineers and say, hey guys, what I'd like you to do is grab all your sheets and put the discipline to electrical, and you can just drop it down, say electrical. So now you'll notice that all these sheets are electrical. And then you can also say what series they are. So I'm going to say, let's put them all to a 300 series. Now, the electrical guy may say, well, I want to sort them too. That's kind of cool. Can I sort them? Sure. So you may say, okay, well, we want to sort maybe the first floor stuff. So I'm going to say, I'm going to put the sorting, see what about sorting. I'm going to say the first floor stuff, 1, 2, 3. First floor stuff, I'm going to call that my 301 series. Okay. Second floor stuff, 1, 2. Second floor, 302 series. And, whoop, that was 303 to 302. And then I'll say, how about enlarged floor plans? We'll make that maybe the 303 section. Now, what that's going to do is, I'm letting the engineer sort them. Now, we may have a preset that we want to use, so our drawings, the architects and engineers, will match. So inside this drawing, we've set that up. Now, the cool thing is he can actually use that in his model if he wanted to sort his sheets out nice and neat. And then we'll drop this down and we'll go and hit save. So I'm going to save the engineers file now. So this is the electrical engineers file, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit save. There we go. Now, being I'm going to link it, I'm going to close this. Now I'm going to open up the architects. So we open it up. Now, just to show you there's no smoke and mirrors, I'm going to scroll down to the sheets, and you'll notice that when I click on the sheet, notice there are no pre-sorts in discipline. Okay, not a problem. Being that we have preset up the shared parameter file, and we can send that, you can email that to the architect or the engineers, whoever you need it to, and they can suck in those parameters. And that's the whole process of this, is having those numbers the same. So this project is 4397 again, and this one is 4397. Now, we don't visually see that, but Revit does. We see the name, like shared parameter, or I think we call this sheet sort or sheet, whatever it is, right? Now, back in our project, now in the architect's project, time to add the parameters to our sheet. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up top and we're going to say, okay, I have to add the parameters. I'm going to go back to manage. I'm going to say add project parameters. I'm going to add 2. Now, at this point, when I hit add, it comes up and says, hey, where do you want to bring them from? Shared parameter. So I want to pull from that same file. So I hit select. Okay. Now it kind of knows which one I'm pulling already. If it didn't, it would have asked me which one. I chose it, right? Now, if we want to change it, we can start hitting edit, and we can go browsing and pick a new one if we want. Okay. But it's already here, so we're happy. I'm going to say sheet. Now, at this point, being that you guys may be watching this video and learning how to do this, let me hit cancel. So I hit here, hit select, and then hit edit. Now, make sure that you're pulling not yours, but the one that has the information in it. So you can go browsing, and again, I'm going to hit Ken's shared parameters, because that's the one I want to pull these numbers from. Again, the concept is to keeping the numbers, the information the same. Once here, I'll say, let me pull the sheet data. So I'm going to grab that one, I'm going to hit OK. So it's going to pull into discipline, and I hit OK on that. Oh, excuse me. Now let's go back here, sheet, discipline, and now I hit OK. And what it did is it says discipline, common, text. Okay, so that's all happy, and I'm going to say that is associated with the sheet. Come on down, and we hit sheet. Sheet, there it is. Boop, we hit OK. Now we'll add another one. We're going to go shared parameter, select it, and that would be, in this instance, the sort. I'm going to add the sort, and that is again associated with the sheets. So at this point, you're probably thinking, man, there's so many steps involved, but really you just do this once. You do this at the beginning of the project, and you never have to do it again. If you're working with, let's say, an architect or engineer working together on a project that you've done before, you can use the same parameters again. It's a one-time setup per project, and you'll be good to go. So now that we've loaded them, so let's see what's happened. I click on the sheet, look what it says. discipline, and sort. Like, that's kind of cool. So I may take all of these architectural plans, come all the way down here, hold the shift key down. Whoop, wrong button, hold the shift key down again. I'm going to say, you guys are architectural. And then, whoop, wrong one, that's a discipline. Let me cut that out of there and paste that in. The sort, I'm going to say, okay, these are all 100 series. All right, let's make it easier. So I'm going to say, okay, I want my first floor, okay, first floor. I'm going to say all you guys are, let's say 201. Maybe we have 101 for civil. 201, okay, and just to mix it up again, there's second floor, and I'll say, okay, you are 202. Again, it's just a sorting feature. If we wanted to, I'll take the rest of these, and I'm just going to put them at something different. Let me shift, and I'll say, okay, you guys are all 203. You can change the numbers anytime in the game. Interior design, I'll say, okay, that's going to be a discipline of ID, and the sort is going to be a 250. All right, and again, sort 250, and that is going to be discipline of arc. Now that's ID. So we put in the information as we're working, and what this is going to do is set up for our sorting. Now let's check it out. I go up top at this point to my view tab. On my view tab, I hit a thing called schedules. I come down and hit sheet list. When I hit sheet list, it says, what do you want to sort or bring in? I'm going to say, well, first of all, I want to bring my sheet name. Bam. Sheet number. Bam. Hey, look at that. Discipline. Bam. Look at that. Sort. Bam. So I'm going to blast these all in. Now, I want the number first, so we move it up. And then I want the sorting next, and then the discipline. I hit OK. And bam. See how it actually brings them all in. Now, you'll notice that it's not sorting by the sheet sort. Now, this is where we can start to get pretty fancy. We can sort by sheet number, by sheet sort, or we can use a bit of both. If you wanted to, you could actually come in here and say, I want all my 200s, and then I will have these 300s, and then, again, you choose how you want to set it up. And that might be the easiest to say, okay, the architects are going to be the 200 series, engineers 300, and go on down the line. Now, I'm in my model, so I'm going to take all of the, let's say, these, all architectural sheets, and I'm going to change them here. See, it says sort. I'm going to say you guys are all 200. Whoop, that's all 2. That should have taken a moment there. So let's try that again. Shift. And I'm going to say you're all 200. Now, don't roll out the box. 200. Okay. And then the interiors are going to be 250. Perfect. Now, you'll notice that they're not sorting right. You got some preliminary up there. Like, what's all that about? Let me just go ahead and put a 200 on him. There we go. Now, we're going to go back here, and you see it says sorting and grouping. I'm going to say sort by, first of all, the pre-sort. See, I got a sheet sort. We could have called it pre-sort. Then sort by sheet number. When I hit OK on that, let's see what happens. Notice all the 200s, and then it went to the ID. So it sorted them as needed. Now, that worked out pretty nice. So we have the ability to sort them as needed. Now, if you wanted to put some other names in here, again, that works just fine. We have the sorting and grouping. We can say sort by, sheet sort, then by. We could say sheet discipline, and then we'll say put header on that. And I'll say what header I want to use. Okay, go ahead and hit OK on that. And now see it says arc, and it says ID. So you can get kind of fancy with all this as you sort them. So I got my 200s, and notice that's putting them in order, and puts the ID in there. Now we're going to get real SpongeBob fancy pants, and I've got mine set up, and let's say the engineer now sends over his set. Now if he went in there and put in the numbers, let's say you ask him, do you send 300 for his sheet sort, and for discipline put in, let's say electrical. Perfect. So let's say he did that to his sheets. It took him 10-15 minutes to do. Now when you come over here and hit insert, let's go back to we have to go to a floor plan or something. We can say link Revit. Now I'm going to link in what? I'll come down here. I'm going to say I want to link in. Let's go back to our desktop, Revit training, and we're going to link in the electrical. I'm just going to say auto origin to origin, and I hit open. Now what happens is, bam. Let's check out what happened on our sheet list. Scroll on down, and we have one that says sheet list. Now we open it up, and notice what has happened. Nothing. Don't panic. What happened is we just forgot a particular setting. Now when I click right here, see it says include elements and linked files. You hit this, cross your fingers, hit OK, and whammo, there you go. So you'll notice how it actually has come in here and added the pre-sorts and all that. So it's up to you on how you want to set it up. So notice we have the 200, 300, 301, 302, 303, and they have the names above it. So it's up to you on how you want to mix and match them to make them set up right. Now, let's go ahead and put it on the sheet. So we'll take our cover sheet here, and we want to put it on the cover sheet. Let's go ahead and move him over, make him nice and pretty. There we go. And we're going to take that sheet list and we're going to drag and drop it onto the desktop. Now, it may look all kind of whacked out for the first time. Don't panic. We put it in here, and I'm going to start to stretch it out a little bit. As I stretch, you'll see it starts to wrap and looks a little bit better. Now, you do have another feature that we can adjust on here. Is you'll see that little break. If you hit the break, you'll see it actually wraps it. Now, by sliding this up and down, notice how the list actually fluctuates. So we can adjust that as needed. And let's take a look at the formatting. Again, I'm going to make this a little wider. And then we'll move them over like so. Now, once you got them about where you want, you'll notice how they kind of working as a set. If you want to move them separately, very small, but see that move icon? You can drag that and actually move them away, move them closer. And if you want them to restack, this is another little tip, just grab that and drop it on top of the original, just like so, and they blend back together. So that'll blend them. There we go. So they're on the sheet, looking pretty good. Again, if we need to stretch one out or adjust one, you'll see this one here is kind of wrapping. So let's pull those out just a little bit. It's looking a bit better. If you don't like the look and feel of it, go back to the sheet list and go to Appearance. Now I'm going to turn off the grids like so, show titles, and hit OK. Back to the sheet itself, and there we go. So we have this nice sheet list with just different setups, etc. Now you could adjust the spacing, you can adjust the font, you can adjust all kinds of things in here to make it look the way you want. So it takes a moment. Now you'll notice it says 00 in here. These bits of information can be adjusted just by going to the sheet list, and you'll see it says 00 in here. I can change this out, and I'll say sheet number, and we can continue to adjust anything we need. Looking a little better. Squeeze that over. Let's go back and check it out. So there it is. So there is our sheet set brought in, and it is live now. So as the architect or engineer adds a sheet or adjusts a sheet, they will shuffle in the setup. Now the last thing you may say is, well, I don't want to see that arc discipline thing on the left hand side. That's nasty. Not a problem. We go back to the sheet list, and we can take any of these lists, including this pre-sort and the sheet discipline, and you highlight that column. You'll notice up top it has hide, sheet pre-sort or sort, hide. Now we have the list and the header looking beautiful. Let's go back to the cover sheet, and there we go. So what that does, it gives us the ability to blend them all together. Now let's say it's late in the project and you think, oh dang, I'm missing a sheet. I don't have the civil in here. Something's missing. You could add the sheet here, or you can use what's called a placeholder. A placeholder is if you right click where the word sheets are and you hit new sheet, right? You'll notice in here it says placeholder sheets and they're blank. But if you want, this is kind of crazy, but go back to your sheet list. In here, notice it'll let me insert a row. Right? Insert a row, okay? So insert a data row, and I place it in there. Insert data row, insert data row. Notice I can come in here and I can put in, let's say, C 1.1. That typing sucks there, 1.1. I'll put a C 1.2 and a C 1.3. Put a 3 there. We'll leave them just unnamed. Now you say, well, I need to see the column. See, unhide all. They're back. So I'm going to say sheet sort, just so we can see how we want to put them in here. Let's go ahead and put a different number in here. Let's put something high, so this one goes to the bottom, let's say. Put a 500. Now when I click out of it, notice it went away. I'll make this one a 700. Put this in here, 700. And there we go. What they did, they went down to the bottom. There they are. So I can now, if I needed to group these, I could say, well, this one here is let's say civil, and I grab this guy and I say, well, you're civil. Let's say a site, yeah, whatever you want to call these, right? Since I have different numbers, they're going to group differently. But if I put the same numbers, they will group together. So if I take this guy and I say, well, you're 700 too, 700, and I want you to be civil. So 700 civil, and notice now they're grouped together under civil. So you can kind of play this neat little game and organize the information the way you want. These sheets do not exist. They're called placeholders. I'll go back to sheets and I hit a new. You'll notice that they're listed here. So two ways. You can hand type them in, and it's not live, or you can use the trick we just did. It takes a little bit on the front end, 15 minutes or so to set up, but then it's live, which makes it nice. So a couple of tips there. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, check us out on the web at therevitguys.com. Thank you.